Safe sleeping zones, I think is one term, a dedicated space. We've talked about this a little bit.
A number of spaces would be needed, but areas, it's cheaper to police that way. It makes more sense, and it's obviously a human necessity and probably a legal necessity, because otherwise the city is going to be taken into a lawsuit.
So there's a precedent for this. There was a camping area, designated camping area back in 1995 near the Coral Street shelter, I believe. And I think we have some footage of that. So if you want to show that while we're talking, that'd be great. And the city, I believe, sanctioned this. We don't have that. The city, I believe, sanctioned this, but then somehow the plug was pulled on it. What's the possibility of doing something like that this winter?
This winter? Well, let me answer first. Robert asked what he can do to change the minds. And my argument would be that we have an initiative process in Santa Cruz that requires about 3,000 signatures, and you can put anything you want on the ballot. He can run for city council if he moved into the city. If he had friends who wanted to, or like-minded people run into the city. I think it's a little unfair to have, I run for city council. I state my position on this. He knew it when I was going to get elected. And instead of trying to advocate through the political process, because apparently that's too hard or too cumbersome, he chooses to try to economically blackmail me through my family, as my primary income is not through Bookshop Santa Cruz. So he's choosing to try to inflict economic pain on my sister in order to change my political beliefs, which, while a legal form of political protest, I don't think is a legitimate form of political protest. So my argument would be, if you can build a coalition, put it on the ballot, and it'll be voted on by the majority of citizens in Santa Cruz in the next election. In terms of providing the safe sleeping zone, which are, if the numbers we're all talking about here, and if we don't want to have anyone criminalized, for sleeping in bushes, we're talking about providing a place for 1,200 people to sleep, or 1,000 people to sleep on any given night. That's a large space. You have to provide restroom facilities. You have to make sure that it's safe, because once you sort of legalize it or give it that standing, I think people are going to want to work under the assumption that it's a safe place to sleep. That takes an amazing amount of research, and I would argue that these are long-term. These are good solutions, and then also long-term solutions, and that providing a safe sleeping zone is, while would be helpful, even if you can find a place and if you can provide all the facilities and safety elements,